Hey, check out what humidity does to your fucking hair. Look at this. Look at this shit. I didn't know I had curly hair until New York City happened to me. Also allergies. Let's start with this. This is the newest coffee. Let's switch screens. Okay. It's from Small Plains, a Rwandan flavor notes: pear, Rainier cherry, chamomile. Don't taste any of those things in it, but that's okay. Maybe the chamomile. I taste the chamomile, but when I'll look at the flavor notes and stuff, and then I'll be like, all right, this is the coffee where I'm going to taste every single flavor note. And you know, it doesn't happen, but it doesn't matter. I think that those are just like guide rails, you know. This is what you should be sort of thinking when it comes to what does this coffee taste like. And you know, it's on the lighter side of the roast, so you know, pear, cherry, any sort of fruit. Whenever I see fruit in there, I'm in. I'm gonna at least try it. It is tea-like, which is nice, but it's not. It needs. I know I said I like my coffees like my tea, and I like my tea like my coffees, but it needs more like complexity, I guess. And this doesn't really have it. So Small Plains is from DC, which I don't know if you've heard is our nation's capital. Everybody. Yeah, we're learning stuff on this podcast. That's where laws are made. And that's where abortions are restricted. That's where freedoms are curtailed. Anyway. So yeah, for that reason alone, I'll never get this fascist coffee. No. So yeah, it wasn't great. I mean, but again, the drink trade program is fun. It's like, it's cool because you never know what's coming. And the next coffee, I'm sure, will be great. And if not, I'll blame it on Washington, D.C. And what's the other thing? Oh, yeah. So I tried this. This is the drink intro portion of the show. But so I was leaving the gym the other day, and I was trying not to go to this smoothie place that has really good vegetable and fruit combo smoothies. So it's not one of those like it's a Jamba Juice or a place where you're basically just eating a giant 30-ounce thing of sugar and stuff and like ice cream and shit, whatever. It's like it's just fruits, vegetables. That's it. So it's like on the healthier side. And they have this really good one that they used to have in LA at this place called Nature Well. And it was like their signature smoothie. It was like spinach, banana, and coconut water, and then maybe one other thing. It's still the greatest smoothie I've ever had. This place kind of does a version of it. And I tried it once and I was like, oh man, this is good. But smoothies are not cheap, and I needed to just like get away from the temptation. So I just went to a supermarket, and we have one near here called Brooklyn Harvest, but you go in there and this place does not know how to stock fucking anything. They're always just like supply chain stuff, you know, from COVID. And I was like, wasn't that worse in like the later part of 2020? How are you guys the only supermarket still like, yeah, we can't carry apples, you know, like they don't have the most basic apples. Like, so it's weird. They'll have like the fancy weird apples where they'll have like the Royal Gala Fuji Pink Lady Red Delicious Hybrid apple. It looks like a Frankenstein monster apple with like 7 different shades of red and yellow. And you're like, I don't know if I want that. Like, where's the Golden Delicious? They're like, yeah, we don't have those. I'm like, you don't have the most basic apple in the world. Red, yellow, and then the Granny Smith green. But they will have like these weird coconut waters. Like, it's called Coaqua. Jesus Christ. There we go. Coaqua super premium coconut water. It's got to be from like the mountains of wherever land. Our coconuts are picked at the peak of their natural sweetness and packaged then and there. A drink as natural as the sunshine that made it. Where the fuck is there? Oh, fresh from the Mekong Delta, which, if you didn't know, is in a place where I have no idea where it is. I'm going to say in and around Thailand is what my guess is going to be. You know what? Fuck this. Let's look it up. We're going to find out where the Mekong Delta is right now, everybody. Fucking Vietnam. I was so maybe close. Is Vietnam close to Thailand? It's Southeast Asia somewhere. It's all down the street, right? Anyway, it's really good. So there's like a company called Harmless Harvest that is they probably make my favorite coconut water. But again, it's so overpriced, but it is the best coconut water fucking ever. Harmless Harvest. And it has like a pinkish kind of hue to it, the actual coconut water. But it's so fucking good, man. But like a 10-ounce bottle of it's like $7 depending on where you get it. And then the bigger ones are 16 ounce or whatever, like 14. It's insane. I've never paid that much for a coconut water, like the big ones. Here and there, you treat yourself every once in a while to a small one, and they're so good. But it's, I mean, nothing liquid should cost that much. What about 50-year-old Scotch, Nick? Fuck you, fictional person who's arguing with me. I don't need to hear this. I saw Mission Impossible 70. No, I think they're on their 7th one, and I saw it in the fucking theater. That's how ready to go I am when it comes to a Mission Impossible. Any like big budget blockbuster action movie, fucking sign me up, dude. Even if they suck, I'll watch the ones that suck because that's what I watch in place of comedies, because comedies aren't funny ever. Rarely ever. But what I will do is I will watch a bad action movie and laugh my ass off. That's comedy to me. Like reliable comedy is a bad action movie. But I won't see those in theaters because that's a waste. But like an action movie I know is going to be good, like let's go. The last few Mission Impossibles have been like, they changed writers and directors, I think. So they have this guy, Christopher McQuarrie or whatever. He took the helm and did the last few, and the last few are like really, really well done. Mission Impossible 1 was really good. 2 was whatever. 3 was fine. And then 4, 5, 6, they started each getting better. 5 and 6 together were like, wow. Cast is great. Tom Cruise is fucking great in everything. He's such a fucking movie star. It's so stupid. Like he's so good at being on screen. It's like it's hard to be that good at being a star. Like he's not the best actor, probably. Like, I mean, not probably, definitely he's not the best actor. There's, the Daniel Day-Lewises of the world are miles better as in terms of like dramatic acting skill and just the intensity of like emotion and realism. Those guys are, you forget that you're watching an actor a lot of the time. But Tom Cruise has star power. Like he can just be on screen doing almost nothing, and you're just like, oh, what's he gonna do next? He's so good at being a movie star. It's such a hard thing because a lot of it's just, subtleties, and you don't need to have the dramatic actor part down because you're just so captivating riding a motorcycle or flying a plane or diving through the air or something like that. He's just like, so I've been thinking about this. Tom Cruise, Keanu Reeves, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think are the best action stars alive and might be top 3 of all time. I can't think of anyone else who even gets close. Everyone in Marvel movies is like, they've mostly only done those in terms of the type of action star that they are, so you can't even really count it, and they're all dressed up in costumes. I think these guys for the most part have just been costume CGI free and are able to carry big budget action movies. And Tom Cruise makes it believable because he's only like 3'7". And he's able to fucking be this larger than life force, And he's good at comedy too. Like in Tropic Thunder, he was great, and he has great comedic timing. Because in these movies, there are moments where someone will be laying out an impossible, obviously, situation, and the way he just acts exasperated, he'll just stop and go, "Wait, you mean to tell me?" And then he'll lay out this, thing, and the way he delivers things and is able to make things funny in like high octane serious moments, not easy to do. He's so good at what he does, it's stupid. And he makes these movies, like he does his own stunts, which when you find out that he's doing that and then you watch the movie, your jaw is dropping, because these days none of it's believable because it's all CGI. They're all just sitting in an air conditioned fucking warehouse in Burbank somewhere, and then they're pretending to be, you know, flying off a building. Tom Cruise is like, nah, man. Put me on a real motorcycle and I'm gonna ride it off the fucking Austrian Alps just so people come to the theater. You know, like they're gonna go anyway, Tom. No, it's gotta be this way. And I respect that. I think that is fucking commitment to the craft. In a way, no action star is doing it. And he's 60 fucking one. He either is the most committed movie star ever, or this is the one loophole that can get him out of Scientology. Like, if you die doing an action stunt, you're good. We won't come after your family. Everything's fine. But if you quit, then we're going to ruin your life. So maybe that's why he's doing it. Maybe he's like, put me on the most dangerous platforms in the world and let me dive off of things. Those are the only two reasons I can think he's that ready to die. But whatever it is, man, he's great in those movies. He was Edge of Tomorrow. If you haven't seen that, fucking awesome. He's funny in that too. He is, I don't want to say he's not a good dramatic actor. He is a good dramatic actor. He was good in what was the Michael Mann movie with Jamie Foxx? I don't remember what it was, but it was good. He was in Magnolia. He was great in that. Vanilla Sky, fucking crazy, dude. That movie is bleak as fuck, but he's really good in it. So whatever. He's one of the all-time great actors, but he is top 3 best action stars. I would even say probably above Arnold, who we were talking about last week, because Arnold has done a handful of action movies and like no one could have been the Terminator. He is the fucking Terminator, but he can't quite he doesn't have the action range that someone like Tom Cruise has. And Keanu Reeves is a great action star because he is able to do almost nothing on screen, but still make it feel like he is in control and your eyes are right on him. Like when you watch The Matrix and like John Wick and all these movies, he doesn't have much dialogue because he's not like the best dramatic actor really at all. Everyone always likes to shit on him and say like he's the worst actor in the world or whatever, but the things he's doing in action films, that's just not easy. You know, like watch B-level action movies and B-level stars, like they're not quite covering the gaps, you know, like they can stand there and look tough and cool, but I mean Keanu's just like effortlessly gliding through these scenes, which again are not, it's not like he's really in these scenes, like he's, you know, there's a lot of CGI, he's sitting on a set, but he makes it seem like, you know, he's on this adventure, and that's hard to like muster up, but he's just like found his niche, and he has nailed it perfectly. He's a really captivating presence on screen. It would be hard to have The Matrix have starred any other action star and have been as believable, because it was more than, you know, Neo or the character. It was about like the world building they did and the philosophy behind it, you know, and like someone like Tom Cruise might have gotten in the way of that because he needs to be at the forefront kind of thing, or can't help but be. Keanu Reeves is the subtleties at work there as an action star. Like you don't see that. It's like a once every generation thing, I think. And I don't know who's like coming up now, who's going to replace those guys. But I mean, Timothée Chalamet, I guess, has been in a couple of like action. He's like in Dune, but I'm kind of bored with him on screen, and it doesn't really do it for me. And there's a wave right now of action movies starring old white dudes that are trying to seek vengeance on someone who has wronged their family, and they're always like coming out of retirement, you know, like this, and they're all like, most of them star Liam Neeson, who's a pretty good action star, but that's like a different like subcategory where it's like, you know, they have like the PGA golf, and then there's like the seniors tournament. These movies are like the seniors tournament for action films. A lot of them are Gerard Butler, Liam Neeson. I think maybe Mel Gibson's done one or two. I think Sly Stallone maybe is now like sort of entered the senior tournament of action films. But a lot of them are like mid to seemingly low budget. The scenes don't really have many people in them. There's not even like a lot of background, you know, work. There's almost no CGI. There's no big high stakes action scenes involving explosions and, BMWs crashing into walls and flying off buildings and stuff. They're not the same. What I think those movies are doing are appealing to a very specific demographic. It is a older, maybe middle-aged and older white center, maybe center right Republican-ish type of guy who feels like life didn't work out and the American dream was taken from me. And this sort of is like an older guy taking control and getting revenge. That's what that's what these movies symbolize. So when I see them, I'm like, why are these so popular? Like, who wants to watch a 50-something, 60-year-old guy like come out of, this like Phoenix Rising type character and get revenge on the government and the mafias and take control? But I think to those guys, like that's that guy to them. Or it's like, that's me. I'm that 55-year-old guy. And it's like, there is a second chance. I am still strong. I am still capable. I think that's like the subtext there in a lot of those movies. Some of them are fun to watch. Like the Liam Neeson ones are great because he's one of those actors that can kind of do it all. But anyway, back to Mission Impossible. That was the last part 1 of 2, and these 2 are the last 2, maybe. I mean, who knows how much more can Tom Cruise jump off of mountains? Maybe he'll just not do his own stunts and still do the films, but it was a lot of fun. I won't give anything away, but it was so much fun. Go watch it in a theater. It's worth it. Now let's talk about movie theaters. I watch maybe 3 or 4 movies in the theater a year. A lot of times it's not worth the effort, the money, it's just not worth it. Going to see this made me realize movie theaters are going to be like this. It's part of a bygone era. This is like, we're at the tail end probably of movie theaters. I don't know how they're going to survive. I don't know. Your options at home now are like awesome 70, 80-inch flat screen, OLED TVs that even dogs now are looking at and going like, is that really here? Like, that's fucking crazy. Like, should I be defending the household from this dragon? Like they don't know what a dragon is, but they think maybe that thing's coming for us. The clarity is unbelievable. And a lot of times you're like, I'll just fucking watch an action movie on this with like a decent sound bar. Where the fuck am I going to go spend $20-something just for a ticket? And I agree. Why would you? Why? I mean, they're all right there. And a lot of studios now are releasing either simultaneously, like in the theater and at home, or almost right after, because they know the theater's going to be half empty, maybe totally empty. I went and saw Mission Impossible. It was the day after it came out. It was a 3 p.m. showing in Manhattan. There were 6 people in the theater. I mean, if this were the fucking late 90s or even early 2000s and it was like a franchise level action film, that theater would have been mobbed. During the experience, I kind of saw why. It was an expensive ticket. And the options were this. You could see regular Mission Impossible, or you could see Mission Impossible RPX, which is like, it was a Regal Cinemas theater, and it's like Regal Power Experience, whatever. It's basically like enhanced audio, like super ultra surround sound. You could feel the, vibrations coming out of the ground. It wasn't one of those things where like their seats are shaking and there's like those little air hose things just shooting bursts of air at you to make it feel like you're driving in a car. Those are awful. That's like, Universal Studios level, just like child's play shit. It wasn't one of those. I've been to those and I'd never sit through that again. I felt nauseous last time I did it. And I picked the RPX option. So I was like, all right, maybe it'll just be like, worth a few extra bucks to have like fucking crazy surround sound. And I'll tell you, that part I was like, this is the best sound I've heard in a movie theater. And it was like a not special theater. But movie theaters are having to make these changes because they need to draw people in. The changes are twofold. One, they're enhancing the experience, which is good. There's a lot of reclining seats. There's amazing sound options. They're like sort of immersive, interactive if you're into that seat shaking bullshit, which is great for the consumer. But the downside is the price. $25 to see a movie? And it was a matinee. I mean, it was like the middle of the afternoon, middle of the week, $25. Like in the 90s, we would like go, waste time watching a movie because it was $4. And then you would like sneak into other movies throughout the day. And that was a form of entertainment. If you were like a poor 12-year-old, you could scrounge together $4, you know? And a lot of times you'd be the only one getting the ticket because you would buy it and then go open and exit and, you know, let your friends in. What 12-year-old has $25? Just like sitting around, you know, and we would see movies semi-regularly. It's no longer a kind of a spontaneous, like, yeah, let's just run into the theater and watch a movie. It's no, because that's $25 to see it. If you have to park, it's another $5-6 in a parking garage, and like popcorn is more than ever. Bottles of water, or they were already high. That's like an old complaint. You know, movie theaters charge a lot for popcorn and sweets and drinks, but they are higher than ever. A small popcorn, which was like 8 ounces of popcorn, was like $7.50, and then a medium was 9 something, and it wasn't that much bigger. And a large popcorn was $700. No, it was not. It's not $700. It was 11 maybe. They charge for butter when that used to be just, there was like, yeah, there's a butter station. Go put your head under the butter and drink butter all night if you want. They didn't care. Now they're like, whoa, no, we do the butter and we're going to charge you. We're going to have a stopwatch going. You tell us when, and we just pump butter and then we'll charge you per second or something. They also had Colonel's seasoning, which was $2. I didn't even ask what the seasoning was. I'm like, I don't want it. Are you seasoning it with gold? No. So water was like $5 for a bottle of water. I mean, it was absurd. You know, if you're like a young, poor person, you know, you're like a broke teenager, or like say you're in your early 20s and you're like, oh, I want to take someone out on a date. Like movie night is not the cheap option anymore. You know, you could be out like $100 watching a movie if you take someone on a date. That's crazy. It's kind of sad to see, because you could witness the downfall of theaters. Like they're trying to make them bigger and nicer and more luxurious, but the cost does not meet the experience, you know, especially with the at-home option, which it would have to be a special movie for you to be like, yeah, I want to pay for extra surround sound. Who's going to want to watch like the next Judd Apatow movie with like amazing surround sound? Why would you need it? You might need the reclining seat because his movies are so boring, you'll probably fall asleep. But outside of that, I don't see you might as well fall asleep at home. It makes me wonder, is the movie theater experience going to be one of those things that like in the next 15 or 20 years, young people are going to look at me and go like, oh yeah, when you were growing up, people used to go to movie theaters, and you're like, do they have many? It'll be like the drive-in, like the indoor movie theater will be antiquated like a drive-in. I'm 41 now, so let's say in another like 10 years or so, if I meet someone who's like 20 and they look at me like, look at that fucking ancient guy walking around barely alive, fucking 51-year-old piece of shit. That's what they would say. And then they'd go, hey, piece of shit 51-year-old. I'd go, who, me? They go, yeah, you're the only 51-year-old that we can see around here. And it'd be like a gang of youths going like, yeah, fucking old guy loser. And I'd be like, what do you want? Leave me alone. I'm almost dead. And they'd go like, hey, we were reading about movie theaters on our VR headsets or whatever they'll be using to learn about history. And they'll go, we were reading that you old idiots used to have to leave your house and go to a theater to watch a movie, which like, why'd you guys do that? I'll be like, because we didn't have fucking like contacts we could put in our eyes and watch a movie through that. And they'll look at us like, God, I can't believe you guys lived such a simple life back then. And I'll go, look, if we're done talking, I need to go crawl into a grave I'm going to dig for myself. And then that'll be the end of our conversation. I think the movie theater experience is one foot in the grave. It'll be one of those things. It'll be one of those things that older people do, or, you know, like younger people will do that as like a throwback thing. The same way people now like, well, let's go to a drive-in. Where's the nearest drive-in? That'll be the movie theater. And the nearest movie theater will be like 30 miles away and what's left of a mall, you know? It made me, I don't know, it felt good being in a theater watching a movie, just because for the nostalgia, really sitting in a theater with a popcorn, which fucking, I didn't even like the popcorn, but I ate every last kernel. For as much as they charged for popcorn, I was going to eat the fucking bag. It was unbelievable how much it was. But yeah, it made me nostalgic, and it made me feel like this is the next thing to go that will be assigned to a generation. You never kind of know what the next thing will be, I guess, because technology moves so fast. And, how long until we have VR headsets that do the job? Will live concerts, something like live comedy shows, like will we get to a point where VR shows are going to be good enough to at least cut down on the desire to attend a live performance? I know there's no substituting at home or virtual versus real, because the feeling you get at a live comedy show or a concert there's nothing like it. But again, in the same way you wouldn't watch a B-level action movie in a theater, but you would watch, the next Christopher Nolan film, you could make the same argument for concerts. Like, yeah, I'm going to go see Tool live every time, but am I going to go to every Wilco show if there's like a VR option, where I can like feel and sort of see, virtual people, and like the experience feels like it's right there? Because then I'll be able to tell myself like, well, the seats I was going to get are not right here. They're way the fuck back there. But if you can get it to where everyone feels like they're in the second, third, fifth row of a Wilco show, like I could see myself not going every time. You'll save a lot of money. You'll get the experience, especially if you've seen them a few times before. I've seen them like 10 times. It's interesting. It's interesting to see where it'll be in 5-10 years. The other thing I wonder about in terms of a live experience is retail shopping. Retail is one of those things that you can do online and have been able to do online for 10 years easy. But I've noticed retail stores will have more sort of immersive shopping experience, or they'll cater to you in a more sort of luxurious, you're a special type of shopper, like you'll walk in, they'll be like, oh, would you like a mineral water? You're like, mineral? Oh, I got a free Pellegrino with my visit to try on this t-shirt. But then when you're doing that, you wonder, you're like, okay, well, they're probably charging more for the clothing because of this shit, and the brick and mortar experience, like, Apple stores are these like amazing looking places when they don't fully need to be. Retail clothing stores sort of have a similar thing. The design will be nice because it gets you in the door. You get to, like, there's something to be said about feeling textures and trying things on and stuff. But again, if you know your brand or you saw it on somebody, are you going to make the trek all the way to Corridor, or are you just going to buy it online? And I'm not going all the way to Soho or Nolita or wherever the fuck Corridor is to get a bottle of water and try on a shirt that I'm probably not going to get. Wait for it to go on sale, buy it online. How many retail stores can survive? And if you grow up that way, sometimes I go to the store just for the, I'll do like a sort of retail therapy kind of thing where I'll just walk into a bunch of stores and look at stuff. I won't buy a single thing. I just go and I put on headphones and I just want to look at what's in style. Well, this looks nice, touch the thing, feel the denim, and I just sort of get lost in it. In the same way I would go to like a record store and just flip through the stuff, look at the album covers, think about music, hear something that I haven't heard playing while I'm shopping. And that's part of the shopping experience. I don't think is like you necessarily shop. You don't get to the buying part. You just go for the experience. But if you grew up not having that at all, why are you going to, there's no novelty. There's no nostalgia attached to it. Why would you do it? I could see retail stores just sort of, what's going to be left? If this is like, there's no movie theaters, there's no retail stores, there's no like, what are the buildings going to be? Probably fucking computer servers to fuel our VR experiences where we're shopping like, yeah, I can virtually feel this t-shirt. And then you order it from your headset. You poke yourself in your VR contact. Order. Wait, no, back. I don't want that one. X out of cart, add to cart. That's so stupid. But yeah, it makes me wonder what's going to just not need to exist anymore. I guess really high end stuff probably will, because you might want to go feel and experience. But I do think like I want to go into like some place and be like, listen, if I skip the experience part, like keep the water. I don't want any scotch. Some places offer you booze and shit like that. If I just beeline to the counter, can you deduct what I would have taken off the price? That should be allowed. I don't want the $5 Pellegrino, so take it off the price of the jacket. That should happen at food establishments, I think. because you can remove stuff all you want off a sandwich. Like I go to, Jersey Mike's and places like that every once in a while. I went to a place called fucking Firehouse Subs like 5-6 years ago. These motherfuckers. I stopped there. I ordered a sandwich. It didn't come with onions, so I was like, can you add onions? And then I wanted to remove something, and then he goes, yeah, we can remove that. But if we add onions, it's $1 or something. I was like, onions are $1? I could see avocados being $1 more. Avocados like the one add-on where we've all accepted, like, yeah, that's $9 sometimes. I guess if we're getting avocados, they add $9 and they punch us in the mouth. And that's the experience associated with adding avocados. Okay, moving forward. But fucking onions, if you're adding onions, but I'm subtracting lettuce or tomatoes even, shouldn't we be even? But they didn't do that. I asked the guy too. I'm like, dude, if I'm removing tomatoes, why don't you remove $1? But if I'm adding tomatoes, you're adding $1? And he looked at me like, listen, I don't give a fuck. I'm a 21-year-old fucking employee at a sandwich shop. I go, no, yeah, you're right. And I wasn't taking it out on him. I just was asking because I needed to ask someone, Yeah, fuck Firehouse Subs, first of all. Second, I never went there again, by the way. And I never will set foot in a Firehouse Subs ever again. And they're not even the only ones that do this, but it happened to me there, so I'll never go back. But doesn't that make sense? Like, if I want onions, you're going to charge me for them? Okay, fine. But why is it not accepted everywhere that if you subtract an item, we're even? You add onion, remove tomato, we're good to go, buddy. But add onion, or let's say remove onion, add avocado, you still get to kick me in the face because that's how much avocado costs, a face kick. But if they're equal, come on, dude. Fuck off. I swear to God, if a sandwich place opened and it was like just totally mid-level, just okay, but that was their business model, I would never go anywhere else. I would support that place with everything I got just because they're fair. I think that's it. I got a lot off my chest. And RIP movie theaters, It was nice having you around. You gave me a lot to do in the 90s. You really you helped me kill a lot of time. You helped me escape the heat, air condition. I watched a lot of shitty movies. I annoyed a lot of paying customers with my friends and our stupid antics. That was a childhood experience, man. And these fucking youngsters right now, whoever's a teenager right now isn't enjoying fucking with the general public like we did back then. What's the best case scenario? You're bothering your family at home while you're watching it on TV. You don't know what living is until you can bother total strangers in public. Have fun doing that in your VR headsets, you assholes. Anyway, see you next time.
It's the end of the show. Like, subscribe, and comment. Don't be a dick.